What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a great Friday. Happy Friday indeed. Look at this. We are bang on time. Bang on time. See, this is what happens when you give me and Faz the keys. We're on time. We're ready. We're prepared. It's going to be a fun one. So there's no
I'm still
Manchester
I'm
United
still
game.
seeing I'm still seeing comments that are saying Faz is powered this. KG said it's we're on time. We're on
We're on
time.
time.
Yeah.
The only reason that Faz had power failure last time was because KG cut his power. This has been proven at this point.
Yep.
I mean,
That's true.
I'm saying this. I had a phone conversation with KG today, and because there was this thing in the news about like someone got sued or something. They got like workman's compensation from an employment tribunal because someone had called them bold at work. So I screenshotted it and I apologized. I went, I'm sorry. I apologize because I was thinking if HR does come in, right, I've said a few things about the boldness. So I'm going to cover myself
Oh
right
yes.
now. He accepted my apology. So the future HR person, you got nothing on me. Okay. So I should probably stop it there, actually, with all the KG jokes. Nevertheless,
Yeah.
there's no Manchester United game this weekend, of course, due to the FA Cup. That's why we played Chelsea a few weeks earlier than planned. Nevertheless, there is still plenty of Erik ten Hag news and discussion to get into. With Erik ten Hag officially confirming the title with Ajax, his attention has now begun to more firmly turn to Manchester United. Therefore, we have plenty of news stories and discussion to get into. Of course, as you can already tell, I'm joined by Faz this evening, fresh off his FA Youth Cup final experience. How are you doing, Faz? How did you enjoy Wednesday evening?
It was actually such a good game. It felt a bit weird being in Old Trafford, seeing a good game. It felt a bit different. I was speaking to the steward. I was like, don't you think this feels a bit weird? Like we're all calm, we're enjoying, we're having a good time. It feels a bit, it feels a bit mad.
There
And
was loads of comments about you smiling. Everyone kept
yeah,
saying, well, we don't recognize this Faz. It was
I do
incredible.
have a good smile. I do have a good smile underneath all that anger and frustration. I definitely do. But it was, you know what? It was really good to see what the future holds. It's really good to see that a manager's coming in. It's just that butterfly feeling, it's that exciting feeling that a manager's coming in who loves giving the youth a chance, who loves the academy process, um, and we've got talent in there. That's the most exciting thing. We've got talent in there. We've got talent that are able to possibly make it into the first team even next season. Break through. Some of these players are possibly able to break through. Yeah, we'll have the questions about the physicality and all of that, but if you introduce them slowly, look after them, take care of them, nurture them, it'll be good. I'm definitely not gonna overload and say, "Oh my God, star boy," and this, that, the other. I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
that because we've what do you say? Learned from our past. But what I am gonna say is, it was very exciting. They actually legitimately played good football. It wasn't a child's game. There was actually legit football being played. I saw tactics. I saw good set piece. I saw players with abilities, players with promise. And I saw a good fight, even from big up Nottingham Forest. They came with a plan. They tried their
I thought they were
thing.
unlucky, Forest,
Yeah,
actually. Some of those
yeah, yeah,
decisions,
yeah,
because it's never a penalty. Like the penalty decision's terrible,
yeah.
but,
I mean,
you get your
yeah,
luck.
but 67,000 fans. What is it? About 60,000 of them. What is 65,000 supporting the
Yeah.
home crowd? And that's another thing as well. That many people turned up for an under 18s game. You don't even get 40,000. What is it? 47,000 for a City game. So
Yeah, it was
with,
the
with, with
most attended game on Wednesday. And bear in mind, there were Premier League games on Wednesday. And even it beat all of them, even games that are being played in the Premier League, granted, stadium size. But the point being that, as Faz mentioned, nearly 70,000 people, including the Forest fans, who I think brought 5,000, went to
yeah.
watch an FA Youth Cup final. So credit to them. Massive credit to them. Let's talk about Erik ten Hag, Faz, because this is a big story that came out yesterday. And I'm really interested to see what you think about this. So Erik ten Hag had a big transfer meeting in Amsterdam.
Yeah, yeah.
Ironically, whilst Flex and KG and Marcel were flying back, John Murto was flying to Amsterdam for this meeting.
I'm
Nevertheless,
glad. I'm
Eric,
glad United didn't ask Flex to go and maybe do some negotiation because we know
oh, you
he's got
just
that
don't
jinxing
touch
power.
anything. Yeah, just
I
don't
was gonna
touch
put
anything. All that kind of stuff.
just
Just
put it
don't
out
touch
there.
anything. I'm
I'm glad
telling
he
you.
didn't touch the goalpost.
Oh, no, imagine. Yeah, they had a recruitment meeting yesterday with Eric Ten Hag, the Manchester United representatives in Amsterdam, where they discussed potential ins and outs. Now, this was covered by the likes of Rob Dawson. James Ducker from The Telegraph also said that John Murtough caught an early flight to Amsterdam to meet with Eric Ten Hag to run through the latest transfer plans in detail before flying back to London in the afternoon. Murtough was actually at the North London derby last night. So jet setting John Murtough. Mitchell van der Gag, who is going to be his assistant manager at Manchester United, was also present at the meeting, as was Steve McClaren. We'll talk about Steve McClaren later on as well. So as I mentioned, they were in this planning meeting, talking about ins, outs, plans for the future, all that kind of stuff. They were talking about incomings, outgoings. Simon Stone has also said that Eric Ten Hag has already spent plenty of time researching the Manchester United squad and determining weaknesses that need to be addressing. So what's your reaction to that, Faz, with this big planning meeting that's happened yesterday? John Murtough, Van der Gag, Ten Hag, McClaren. Is that a positive? Is that stuff you like to hear?
All is good. All is good. Just want to know, what does Steve do in this whole mix? What's his role? What's he doing? I've not really, where does he fit into the mix here? I don't really understand where he's coming from. Okay, Ten Hag is coming from an Ajax perspective. He's just come off winning the league. He's bringing his assistant. Makes sense, right? They're gonna have a plan. Steve, though, on the other hand, what's the mix here? What's he bringing to the table? I'm not discrediting his CV. I'm not discrediting his past relationship with Ten Hag, but I want to understand what he brings to this table. At this time and moment, I don't see anything that he can possibly add to this table at this time. But if Ten Hag sees that there is something that Steve can bring to the table that I don't see, that maybe some fans don't see, I'm open to it. I'm open to be educated. Let's see if they get things right. And the fact that Murtough went over to discuss the transfers and everything is very positive. Um, as much as Manchester United are really poor or have been really poor in the transfer market in the past few years, I'm hoping, they probably had this meeting because Ten Hag has said, I want to come in fully prepared. I want to go in with all the players ready for preseason. And obviously he's also mentioned the 2-week early preseason start as well.
Yeah.
So they're probably budgeting. They're probably thinking, okay, De Jong, Timber, this, that, the other striker, Anthony, I don't know. Midfield, Tchouaméni, maybe. I don't know. Just they're probably pricing everything up. They're probably thinking these are the set players that we definitely want to go for. These are the set players that it would be good if we can have. And these are the players that we need to somehow figure out how to leave the club. I don't see them in my plan. So it's good. It's good that they're having this conversation early. Yeah.
Super chat from Keegan says, shout out to the channel. Everyone here delivering 5-star content. This channel is out here setting the standard in fan content. Big up UV. Big up yourself, Keegan. Appreciate the contribution. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. I mean, it's been an absolute crazy week. And I was watching myself, just watching like the vlog that went up yesterday of the experience when they were in Amsterdam. Faz doing his thing at Old Trafford for the Youth Cup. We had a great amount of people watching it on the match view as well. And obviously the scenes outside the Johan Cruyff Arena was crazy. Just an amazing, amazing week. And we're really, I cannot speak for everyone, obviously, but I am so glad as someone as part of this channel that you're enjoying all of this content, and you're really interacting with it, and it's what you guys want to see, because that's what's most important about all this. It's what you want. It's about what you want to interact with. Nate H with the super chat as well says, I don't want McClaren coming in kissing the English players' asses. The Premier League experience crap really annoys me. He was in Prems when teams played 4-4-2. We were going to talk about the McClaren thing later, but as you brought it up, Faz, let's actually talk about it now. So obviously when you say Steve McClaren's name, just in general to any football fan, he gets mocked. He just does, right? Because of the England situation, the Wally with the Brolly, the Dutch interview, right? When he first became FC20 manager and he was Steve McClaren and he was doing that kind of accent. Big game. That's what he should. Big game. It is Arsenal. That's what, it's the worst interview. Go and watch it. It's awful. But look, can he be an asset to Manchester United? I know, because it's kind of what you're saying there is basically I've seen what similar people are saying where they're saying, what's the difference between him and Mike Phelan, right? It's a guy that's come in there, knows the club, knows the Premier League. It's sort of a guiding hand, like it was for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Mike Phelan was a guiding hand for Ollie, and he's a guiding hand for Ralph, I guess, at the moment. And he might be a guiding hand for Eric Ten Hag. But if it's very clear and transparent, he's just there as an advisor, really. He's not going to be on the training pitch. He's not going to be running training sessions. He's just there really as an advisor to help Eric Ten Hag. And most importantly, if Eric Ten Hag wants him, and this is what the reports are saying, he says, I really want Steve McClaren to be part of my backroom staff. I feel more comfortable with Steve. I need Steve around to be successful in this job. Then does it matter if it's what Eric Ten Hag wants?
No, it does. Look, if, like I said, if Ten Hag wants him, he gets him. That's how that's my mentality right now. You can ask me what I feel about Steve. I mean, look, in his career, the clubs that he's been around, he's done a good job at Manchester United. But after that, what's he really done? He's hopped around clubs. He's had an okay spot here. Was it Derby, Middlesbrough, FC? What is it? I don't even know.
He won the Eredivisie with FC 20, which is impressive. I believe it was the first time in their history that they did that.
It was a long time ago, wasn't it?
That's fair. That's fair. But you can't say he's never done anything in his career, right? He was Sir Alex Ferguson's assistant in Manchester United's most successful season ever, the treble-winning season.
Right. These are good things, positive things. Yeah. But the timeline of it doesn't add up. Ten Hag has just won a league. He's in the current, climate. He's in his mindset is in the current style of football. He's thinking current. Mr. McClaren, is he thinking current? Is he a current thinking assistant manager or assistant advisor? I don't know. What type of advice
does he need to be? Though? Does he need to be current or anything like that?
Especially 10,000,000%.
Especially if Van der Gag's going to be his assistant, right, and he's going to be the one running the majority of the training sessions. And again, the biggest problem with Mike Phelan is we don't know what he does. Who knows what Mike Phelan does? If it's from the outset, it said Steve McClaren, he's just an advisor. He's just here that if I've got some ideas to bounce something off, or if it's just a case of, Steve, you've been in this league or you've been around English football. Does this really kind of work? And it's an opinion. Is that necessarily a bad thing?
So what kind of advice is this? You're asking if this is a derby game. You're asking, sat nav to a stadium. What type of advice
it's going to be more than that. It's going to be, I doubt Steve McClaren is going to be directions on a sat nav. We don't need a sat nav. We've got Steve. He's driving.
Identify the job that you're doing. I don't need another person in the dugout putting out cones. I don't need it. I said, if Ten Hag sees a value in him, then cool. I want to be educated. I want to turn around and say, okay, cool. Maybe Steve had a part to play in this. Okay, Steve did have a part to play in this. But what he's doing, identifying future players, identifying maybe youth players transitioning, whatever. It doesn't actually make sense. Same as the situation with Ralph's position, this advisory position of 6 days a month. It doesn't really, it makes sense, then it doesn't. Darren Fletcher's position, it makes sense, then it doesn't. Steve's position, or makes somewhat sense, then it doesn't. So I'm still 50-50. I'm not gonna jump and say, yeah, okay, cool. I'm excited to see him. I have to see what his actual role is. You and me both, we don't know what his actual role is. What is this advice? What sort of advice can Steve give to him that that Ten Hag's analyst can't give to him? What is this advice that he needs?
Maybe the Manchester United fan opinion. Steve McClaren would have a better idea than Eric Ten Hag, though.
He can't speak to the media. I don't know what type of fan. Like we know him. He makes a fool of himself when he speaks to the media. So he definitely isn't that. So is he current? Is he a current type of person? I'm just, respectfully, is he a current type of person? Is he in line with the current times?
But I don't think he's coming in to be a current type of, Steve's going to be running, the training session. Steve's going to be really having input with tactics. I would perceive it as, because again, Ten Hag and Van der Gaag are going to be the main people driving training sessions, tactics, etc. I would think Steve McClaren, like I said, is just more for advice on how to manage. Everyone says the step up from Ajax to Manchester United is massive, right? And if he came in and then he's out of his depth and people would go, I tell you what, why didn't he surround himself with people that kind of just know what the league's like or know what Manchester United is like. Isn't it a little bit of a fail-safe in that? And also, let's be honest,
Yeah.
again, if Ten Hag wants it, and if Ten Hag went to the board and said, yeah, my assistant's coming in fine, but I really would prefer it if Steve came in just because I've got a good relationship with Steve. Steve knows the club, Steve knows the league. He might just be for a year. That will help me out. Then does it really matter?
Look, Ten Hag, like I said already, he gets what he wants. That's fine. I have my own personal opinion, but like I said, he definitely clearly sees something. I understand the perspective you're giving. He's been in this league. He's been in and around the teams. He understands the league. He understands certain styles of play, the fans aspect of things. There will be things, yes, that he can add. I'm just saying the value of what he can add, is it extremely valuable to the point we need him in our backroom as a backroom staff member? But I understand that Ten Hag is coming in into a whole new league, into a whole new style of play, clanging and banging week in, week out with Conte, Arteta, Pep, Klopp, even Graham Potter. So he'll need all the advice he can get. He'll need all the help he can get. So I understand that aspect, but I have my doubts, which is natural to have considering this club's decision in the past. But we'll see. We'll see how they utilize him, the advice he gives. Yeah.
I would have my doubts if he was the assistant manager or if he was like a proper coach, big integral part of the coaching staff. But the way I perceive it is that he's not. He's in recent years when he's not been in managerial jobs, he's been advisors or not even sort of technical directors. He was recently at Derby, just helping again guide Wayne Rooney. I'll give you a hand if you want it, Wayne. So that's the way I kind of see that one. A couple of super chats here. One from Sully saying no negative-ish. Give Eric Ten Hag what he wants, period. Nate H says, Steve, go tell Harry to train with the under-23s. That might be Steve's role.
then Steve can get a job, no problem.
Exactly. Sandro says, Faz, go watch Steve's interview about the importance of modern goalkeepers if you are saying that Steve isn't current. He definitely is in line. It's a very interesting one. I think what Sandro's referencing, I don't know if you've seen it, is he does a podcast with his son. I think it's called like McClaren Podcast. And this was just before I think Ten Hag was announced. He's been linked to the United job, and they did a whole 45 minutes talking about his experiences with Ten Hag and all that kind of stuff. And it was a really good watch or listen. So I would definitely recommend go watch it.
Thank you.
Nate H says, we seriously need to move on from the Fergie era though. And that's true. That's true. But I would think, obviously he does have his links to the club and I could understand that. I would say the bigger part of it is probably more his relationship with Ten Hag as opposed to his relationship with United, though. I would say that's just kind of maybe a bit of an extra part of that. But going back to the meeting, now it's previously what managers at Manchester United have wanted as opposed to what they have received or got when it comes to transfers have been two different things. Are you at all confident that Eric Ten Hag will get what he wants this summer after strategic meetings like this?
Yes and no. Yes and no. The first player that we purchase in the transfer window will definitely tell me the direction this club is going in terms of, is Ten Hag getting what he wants, really and truly. If Ten Hag says, I want Tchouaméni, in the pecking order, Tchouaméni, De Jong, or De Jong, Tchouaméni, like that, I need these three players, I need them. Manchester United should do anything possible to go and get him those players. I do not care about anything. Go and pay the money and bring in those players, because you have done the same thing when it came to Maguire. You did the same thing when it came to Sancho. So when this manager is now coming in and he has a vision, you want to give him the keys, you want to put him in the driving seat. In that case, you got to back him. You must back him. And he also, like I said, has to filter out the Ole players that Ole had brought in. He has his own players that he needs to bring in. So will Manchester United let him? I mean, there's funny talks about the budget, isn't it? I'm hearing 150.
So many talks about the
yeah,
budget.
so many talks. They said it's not 20 million, but it's not 200 million. So I don't get it. Like, there's no budget, but it's good as well because they're not saying it to the world. We've got shit ton of money to spend this summer, and player prices are hiking up. It almost seems they're being a bit too quiet in the transfer window for my liking. They're not making any bold moves.
That we know of yet.
But yeah, that we don't know of yet. It might be strategic. Obviously, loads of people in decision making positions, player contracts, transfers have moved on from the club, which is positive. So first player that is signed will definitely tell me is Ten Hag getting what he wants, and hoping that meeting that they had recently is part of that. Is part of that. I need three players. These three in my pecking order. I need them. I want them. Please make it happen. And then Murta goes and says, "Okay, let's bring in these three players at any cost. Let's give him what he wants." And these are the probably first three players that I want out. After the players that are already leaving, there are probably still players that I want to. I can't keep playing week in week out, so they need to leave. So then they'll look at listing them on the transfer market, or keep them moving on.
Keegan says, "Does anything include ridiculous wages?" Well, I would hope that we get the wages under control. Any signing, I don't want to see him coming in on some ridiculous wages, but that would be a statement of intent that United have changed as well, wouldn't it? Let's be honest, in terms of the contracts that are given out as well.
The thing
Speaking
with
of targets, though, carry on.
the thing with wages is, Owen, it'll take time. You can't just bring in a player and say, well, I'm going to straight away start from here. It'll have to be a gradual thing, I believe. You can't, because then players just simply won't want to come. Let's be real. They know the name Manchester United. They know what it brings. They know what some of the players are on at the moment. And it's just, we're not going to be able to attract some players in this current day and age. And it's sad. We don't want to be paying
Shouldn't it
big
be
money.
tough shit though? Shouldn't it just be, wow, okay, if you want big wages, you're not the kind of player we're looking for?
But the approach that I want the club to take is, look, it's not about the wages. Wages will come as we win titles, hopefully, as we move on to Champions League. It will come in your contract extension. It will come. But for the first few seasons, let's tie it in a acceptable wage packet. We will look to review it when you're performing, when we're going forward in cup competitions, when we're qualifying for Champions League. We'll look at it then. But to start off with, we're going on a building phase and we want you to be part of the team. The manager wants you to be part of the team. You're going to play in week out. We believe in you as a player. The fans believe. Let's take that approach rather than the money approach.
Interesting. Speaking of targets as well, so this comes from James Ducker and Samuel Luckhurst have all both reported this. Erik ten Hag wants two midfielders, a versatile forward, and a centre half this summer. Now, Samuel Luckhurst also says that moves for a fullback and goalkeeper are also under consideration, depending on outgoings. So we say goalkeeper, most likely a backup, depending on the whole Dean Henderson situation. Ten Hag, this comes from Rob Dawson, has made strengthening Manchester United's midfield a priority, while the club are also looking at strikers and central defenders. There remains to be interest in Sam Johnston, as I mentioned, to compensate for the loss of Dean Henderson. So let's start off with that. Two midfielders, a versatile forward, and a centre half this summer. Do you think that's what we need? Is that realistic, do you think?
Yes, it is realistic. We definitely need them. And I think we can do it. I really think we can do it. Attacking wise, we can't rely on Ronaldo week in, week out. It's just, as much as I love him, as much as he has done a lot this season, next season he's going to be what, 38, isn't he? Next season,
Yeah.
Owen?
Yeah.
The sauna and the sun and all of that, as much as it can help him, and the cold showers, God bless him. He has done enough. We could do with him, but he can't be the week in, week out player. We need a straight up forward attacking player that can possibly support him or also look to replace him eventually. Midfield is, of course, the main priority. But in terms of the positions that you've mentioned, it's definitely doable. Of course, it's doable, and we should be attacking the transfer market with those positions in the forefront of it all.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I've said this so many times here in recent weeks. We've been talking about transfers or the summers that obviously we know loads of people are leaving. Obviously, free contracts, but also people that are probably just going to be on their way out of the club anyway. But there is also almost this weird expectation that all of them are going to be replaced, or we're going to bring in 10 players. We're going to bring in 8 players. I look at that report from James Ducker there where he says 2 midfielders, a forward, and a centre half. That's 4 players. That's very in keeping with what Manchester United
What was that? Can
usually
you repeat
does.
that? Two midfielders,
2 midfielders, a versatile forward, and a centre half. So 4 players, basically, they're saying that are likely to come.
What's
That's
a
very in
versatile?
keeping.
Like, what do you mean of a versatile forward that can play a false nine? That can be a ST
I would
winger
assume, I would
mixture.
assume it's someone that can probably do a variety of roles, maybe up front. I don't want it to be a striker that's like, oh, we can also play on the wing. We've got enough of that. We don't need that. I would think it's a forward that, again, can play off Ronaldo, can support Ronaldo, but that can also, in a couple of years, develop into our main central striker. That's what I would hope they mean by that. But in terms of the number 4, that's pretty in keeping with what Manchester United usually does in a transfer window. They go for about 3 or 4 players. And let's be honest, the idea that we can fix all of our issues in one transfer window, it's just not realistic. It's not realistic at all.
Can I be honest? We really, really badly, like, this is a matter of urgency now. It's not a matter of we need to do it. What It's a matter of urgency. Need to get rid of Maguire. To be able to bring in a new center back now. Um, Look, Maguire, if he stays in the club, he's going to play. He's just end of conversation. There's no two ways around it. He's not going to be sitting on the bench. You know that. I know that. People watching this stream know that. Every single person who supports Man United, deep down inside, we all know that. We
Well, do you think
need
so?
to.
Do you think so? If he's at the club, he'll definitely play. Would you say? Because
Oh my
if
God.
Ten Hag
Can
has
you
been
imagine?
given, if he's been given total autonomy, Ten Hag, in terms of do what you want, captain, players, staff, do what you want. We need fixing. Maybe Harry Maguire does stay, but if we bring in another centre half, who that would be? Maybe it's Pau Torres, maybe it's whoever, right?
So we've got
And
Eric
they're playing
Bailly,
better. What
Lindelof.
do you have?
We got
Go on.
Eric Bailly, Lindelof, Varane, Maguire, and then another one, fifth one.
Well, Eric
Eric
Bailly
Bailly
might
is not
go.
getting. Sorry,
Eric Bailly might go.
I don't want him to. This is what I'm saying.
Why not?
Why?
The guy barely
It doesn't
plays
make sense.
anyway.
Why would you get rid of Eric Bailly and not Maguire? Eric Bailly is much better on the ball than Maguire.
Because
Much better.
that might
Yeah,
be an
he
easier
can be reckless.
from a United perspective. That might be an easier player to get rid of this summer than Harry Maguire. Think about it, right? Manchester United, they're not going to get their money back. That's just let's accept that. That's not happening anymore. But also, who's going to want to pay a big Harry Maguire contract? Who would come in for him? There'll be people in for Eric Bailly. Are there going to be people in for Harry Maguire?
There will be people in for Eric Bailly because he's a good player. That's why.
Exactly.
And there
Again,
will be,
so that's
yeah.
an easier deal to do, is it not?
Yeah, but I don't want that. I want the deal to be done on the player that needs to leave. Cut your losses. Let's not cut your losses. It is what it is. Time to move on. You know, the crypto market is down. Forget it. Cut your losses. With with Maguire, you have to forget that he was the 80 million pound player. Just forget about it. Move on. Forget the contract. Whatever they can offer him, whoever can offer him, take it. And just run with it. Eric Bailly needs to stay in this club. He still has things to offer. There's still things Ten Hag can bring out of him.
Does he though?
I deeply believe so.
Does he though, Faz?
I deeply
How many
believe
times
so.
have we said? How many times have we said that about Eric Bailly coming into a season, then he plays 10 games because he's injured?
No comment.
Yeah.
Next
So,
question.
and the only positives about Maguire is that he does play most of the games because he's
And
his
Varane.
biggest strength.
Same thing.
His biggest strength, Maguire, legitimately, is availability. That is his only strength, realistically, to Manchester United. Now, my point was before, if you are Eric Ten Hag and you've been given autonomy of terms of like, look, we just need fixing. Okay, you come in, bring in who you want, staff, whoever you want to bring in, players, play who you want, captain, you can be whoever you want. Who's to say if we don't bring in Pau Torres or another centre back, whoever it may be, then they actually go, you know what, and it works, then he'll just play him. Harry Maguire might be on the bench a lot next season and not the captain. And then my point being the following season, that's then an easier deal to do for him to leave the club, as opposed to right now, stripping the captaincy, which I think should happen. And it's not a case of I want Maguire to stay or anything like that. It's easier to do over a longer period of time than say a deal like Eric Bailly.
I totally agree with you that what you're saying makes sense, 100%. Easily, slowly, just put him on the bench and then slowly filter him out the club. Absolutely, makes perfect sense. Bring Pau Torres in, possibly Timber. I'm just saying, possibly.
Maybe.
Varane, if he can, as well, another player who can, if he can remain fit and he can keep his injuries under control. Lindelof, if he possibly, somehow magically increases his ability of just football IQ in general. Forget everything else, just football IQ in general. It's good. Now, just think, Owen, for a second. Sky Sports, BT Sports, zooming in on Harry Maguire's head whilst he's on bench. Picture that. Do you see that? Because I can't see it. If Ten Hag does it, big respect to him. Honestly, obviously, we said the captaincy has to be stripped off. These are things that if he starts doing these things, putting Maguire on the bench, taking the captaincy off, I'm gonna be like, okay, he's actually the real deal. I'm not saying he. Nobody can say if he's gonna do it until it's done. Until we
Yeah.
actually see it happen, we can't say that it's gonna happen. We have to see it happen. I'm just like, are they gonna bench this 80 million pound centre back who always shows up for England and he's got great stats for England and XYZ and whatever? So we'll have to wait and see.
It is interesting as well that if it was just 4 players this summer, which I do think is a realistic number, that still doesn't resolve like half of Manchester United's issues. And I think that
Yeah.
goes to the point of, again, this is why Ten Hag needs time, because not only does he need time just to implement his playing style and get his points across to certain players, but it's going to take 2, 3, 4, and I mean, maybe I say 3, I mean like summer transfer windows to actually get rid of all of the players that need to go and bring in all of the players that need to be brought in as well. So 4 players, I think that's so staggering that you could bring in 4 players, and usually bring in 4 players, high quality players. That's a good transfer window. And it might be a good transfer window for United, but you would still be like at the end of it, we still need more.
Yeah. I would have said 6. I know 4 is a cute number, but I would have said 6. I would have been happy with 6 because of considering the amount of players that are actually leaving. Just that alone, we need squad depth. 5 subs. Like, are we forgetting 5 subs?
That's true. It's a good point. Yeah.
Squad depth. Unless, okay, you bring in 4, okay, good number, and then you promote 2 players from the.
That's what I
youth
was going to
academy.
say. Does it look like then if we only bring in 4, but we're going to have legitimately maybe 10 leave? Does that just kind of forces your hand of going, well, Donny's coming back, Garner comes back, he's got to be involved. Maybe I don't know if Garnacho is going to be involved more regularly. It might still be a little bit too early for him every single week, but there has to be players sort of pushed up and brought in, just like you said, to fill out that squad.
I'm hoping so. It'll be exciting to see. And the direction that we're going in, I would say it's a good time to promote some players from the youth academy and help them build up for the next season or 2. So yeah, I would like to see. I would have liked to see anyways 3 players come through anyways, regardless of how many players we bring. I would have liked to see 3 players come through anyways, but obviously that will be dictated as well how many players we bring in. But hoping, yeah, they can promote 2-3 players.
Any fullbacks? Do you think we sign any fullbacks, or do you think we're stuck with the 4 that we've got?
I'm a bit thinking about Timber because obviously he plays a centre back and a wing back as well. Is he gonna come in? If he comes in, who's gonna go? Look, for me, as much as people might not agree with me, but Wan-Bissaka, is he staying? I was like KG,
Apparently,
I'm a
we're
big
open to
fan
offers.
I'm a big fan of Wan-Bissaka. I have been, but after this season, I just, I don't know. It's weird, Owen. Sometimes new manager comes in and you start seeing things from players you've never seen before. It can happen. Look at the latter stages of the season. We start seeing Fredinho. We've not seen any single thing from him all season, and then all of a sudden he starts coming out of his shell. He starts doing crazy things. The fullbacks, though, in terms of Telles, Dallo, Shaw, Bissaka, I think Dallo, simply because of his age, it's unfair just to say because of his age he can stay. I don't really see Telles. I still see certain aspects, but he's not fast enough. I think Dallo and Telles and Shaw need to go. Those 3 need to go somehow. Some people are
Interesting.
still
Luke
saying,
Shaw. You reckon Shaw's
yeah,
needs to go? Why so?
yeah, he can go.
So he would be
Not
maybe
good
the
enough.
one out of all 4 that I'd probably say, I reckon Ten Hag might be able to get something out of him.
Fitness, he's going to struggle with that.
That's true.
I'll tell
That's
you
true.
that.
But out of all of those fullbacks that we've got, you could argue that Luke Shaw's the only one that we've seen out of them actually like, okay, he can have a good season.
He can
The
put a
rest of
good
them,
ball in. Yeah, okay. Wan-Bissaka, he can put a good challenge in, but he can't do anything else. Dallo and Telles, them two I don't see nothing. I actually do not see anything apart from that one volley that Telles did from where, I don't know where that came from. But other than that, Dallo and Telles actually do not bring nothing to the table. Zilch. These 2, even if you say, okay, you sway me into keeping Shaw, Okay, heavy fitness training, cool. He can still put a cross in sometimes. Okay, Wan-Bissaka, he might see something in him and tidy him up and keep him as a backup, cool. But Dalot and Telles, there's just there's no exception. Dallow's only thing saving him is his age, plain and simple. And Telles, what is he, 28, 29? Telles is 29
He's
years old.
29. Yeah.
29 years old. Oh my God. No. Let me just, no, cancel, gone. Stamp on it, there, gone, finished, out.
Super chat from Nathaniel says, "Hey gents, what's the possibility of Fred being converted to a fullback? Priorities seem to be centre midfield, centre back, and centre forward. It's not FIFA, but it's possible." Look, I think that we've actually found a situation when Fred's actually playing well for Manchester United for a couple of years, where he almost became a bit of a running joke in the Manchester United sort of fan base and all that. But he's played really well this season, and I think
that's a very good comment. Think about it. Just Fred as a wing back. I mean, he loves to be a bit rough. He doesn't shy away from a challenge, regardless of his physicality. Sometimes he does have that skill. He can make cute passes. We've seen that. The Brazilian in him comes out sometimes. Very interesting.
I would much rather have Fred in midfield than as a wing back. I just think, like I said, Fred's found his part in Manchester United, right? He's found his part. Let's just leave him there. Let's not start. It's the same situation when it's like with the whole, like, how many times people go, let's make Lindelof a defensive midfielder. Let's make Lindelof. No, if he could be a defensive midfielder, he would be a defensive midfielder. Like, why don't we try Phil Jones as defensive midfielder? No. The people find they find their position and then suddenly everyone wants to make them into something else. They're good at what they can do, right? Fred's good at what he does now. People like Fred. Why are we putting him out? I tell you, if first game of the season, Ten Hag goes, I'm playing Fred, right wing back, people would be, I can't zoom in the camera, but people would be like, this guy's crazy. That has to work. If you've got the balls to do that decision, that has to work.
Thing is with Fred is his willingness. I think he's won me over, like I said, in the latter half of the season, in the midst of every single situation and all the shambolic things that have happened. He's definitely won me over. I've been extremely critical of him because of his position, because of his background, because of his nationality as well. I thought he's going to be that baller, but he wasn't in the first half of the season. But in the latter half, he gave me something to be like, okay, you know what? Yeah, he deserves his credit. Credit where credit is due. So going forward next season, I think Fred is just that player. He's the willingness in him that I love. You tell him to be a wing back, he'll be a wing back. But like you said, he's found his place, and obviously Ten Hag will probably utilize him and even sharpen him up more and make him shine. McTominay, though, I don't know how he's going to do things with him. Oh, I just remembered McTominay. Oh, my days. I just remembered there's McTominay next to him.
From Game
I get depressed. I'm sorry. I get flashbacks.
Provides nothing. People forgetting he's got 3 assists in the last 3 wins. Defensively dodgy, I agree, but he's got a cross and corner on him. Appreciate the contribution, Game Fanatic. I think, look, that's kind of the thing with Tellers, isn't it? Is people go, yeah, set piece delivery and all that kind of stuff. But for me, nowadays, the wing back or full back position, you kind of have to be largely the complete player. And if you're not, like in the case of, say, like a Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is not the best defensively, they offer just so much going forward, like so many assists and so much influence that you kind of can go, wow, but he's making up for it. Like with Tellers, the fact that but even Reece James defensively, very strong because his strength is unbelievable, right? He is more complete, I'd argue, than maybe Trent. So like in that role nowadays, they have to be complete. And it's not just one thing of like, if you say, oh, defensively, they're dodgy, that's just ultimately for United, that's just not good enough. That just it isn't good enough. Speaking of a player that might be good enough for Manchester United, Frankie de Jong. Yes, I want to get your opinion on this, Faz. Frankie de Jong. Samuel Luckhurst saying that Manchester United are weighing up a possible deal for Frankie de Jong and are aiming to sign another midfielder, as we spoke about earlier, at least one forward and a centre-back. Now, when it comes to Erik ten Hag's relationship with de Jong, Erik ten Hag is understood to have reached out to de Jong's agent to gauge whether de Jong would be receptive to joining Manchester United. Now, de Jong shares the same agent as Donny van der Beek. This was Van der Beek's new agent that he signed with last October. So what are your thoughts on the de Jong story? That kind of came out of nowhere on Wednesday after the Eredivisie title for Ajax and the Youth Cup final. What are your thoughts?
De Jong, physicality wise, is not the strongest, but he's really comfortable on the ball. We know that he's a very attacking minded player. He's good at with his passes. He's calm, composed, clean. He keeps the passes clean. He's also, skillful as well, which helps. And with Ten Hag's style of play, I think, of course, if he fits in really well. My just concern is the price tag that'll come with him. What
That's
is he?
what I was going to
70?
say. Six.
Is he
Well,
70
they
million,
reckon
65?
maybe, yeah, they reckon maybe 60, 65, possibly 70. It, it's the case that I was actually talking to KG on the phone earlier today, and it's a good point that you bring up because we're saying that we've been talking about, we need like 5, 6 players in, and we don't want to see any more 65, 70 million pound players. And then we get, oh, Frankie de Jong, 65 million, and people go buy him. You know what I mean? That is, but from the perspective of, and the We Talk Ajax guys were saying this, and a lot of people have been saying this, for a player of his quality, he is probably worth way more than that. So are we getting a bit of a bargain as well?
It's the art of negotiation. Barca has said the door is open. De Jong has said, my shoes are on. I want to come. Ten Hag has already made the interaction with the agent. It's now time to negotiate. The person in charge of the negotiations, and I've heard Darren Fletcher might be a part of this as well. Whoever's in charge fully now has to negotiate the price. Just look at the way Liverpool do business, please. For God's sake, look at the way City just signed Haaland compared to they've triggered the release clause compared to his actual value. If we really want to convert value of Haaland, look at the way they've just signed him. They've saved millions and millions of pounds on him. We
That's a
need to
release
do
clause,
clever.
though, isn't it? That's easy. That's easily
Yeah,
done. This
yeah,
is
sure.
different. This is negotiations.
But that's what I mean. It's the art of negotiation. Just because he's 65, don't go and slap 65 on the table. You know that the door's open. It's not like the club want to really keep a hold of him, whatever. We all know he's not the happiest when he's in Barca at the moment. And Xavi as well, he said, yeah, he can leave. So let's negotiate. I think 65 is a bit too much. 55 would be a much more reasonable price. Much more reasonable price. 55 to 60, add-ons, etc., agent fees, much more, reasonable. But 65, you're stretching it. And then the add-ons on top, yeah, you're stretching it. Because we've got to be clever. We want to bring in some players. We want to keep the budget tight. We don't just want to go and spend it all on the first player, and then now we're like, okay, we don't have enough funds to go forward. And I kind of do agree, as much as these 65, 75 million players, they eat into your budget, I do kind of want to look at some players that are like 35, 40, because simply look at the way Liverpool are going and buying players. Oh, Lord have mercy. Tell me
Could
the
you
players
argue?
Luis Diaz, 25 million.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, it's great business, isn't it? I mean, you can't even argue with that. Could you argue though with the money quoted for De Jong? Because I can understand your perspective as well of Barca financial difficulties. That's really why they're getting rid of De Jong. They think like we probably need to get rid of him. We're still struggling for money. If United know that, you have to use that to your advantage, right? You'd have to say, look, I know you're struggling for money, so you're going to take what I give you. I can understand that perspective. But on the other side of the argument, people might say, oh, sometimes United have missed out on transfers because they have haggled too much. And then they'll go to another club and they do well. If this offer is or this deal is available to be done, should we not just do it?
Okay, you tell me then, if we think it's a steal, how much is his actual transfer value in your eyes? 85?
Well, how much did he go for?
Yeah, you really think
I think
Frankie de Jong is worth 85, 90?
I mean, how much did he go for? I mean, off the top of my head, they can let me know in the live chat. I'll do a Google search now. De Jong to
Yeah.
Barca fee, because I swear it was.
I'm sure it was the same,
It
no,
was
70. He
it was
went to
about
Barca for.
70. I
Yeah,
believe it
there
was
you
about.
go.
Was it
He
70?
went for 70, and now they want to get rid of him for 65, 70. So they basically want to claim back the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's negotiation. I don't care what the fans will just say, yeah, oh, Frankie de Jong, let's buy him. But they're not understanding mistakes that we've made in the past. We need to be clever. Every step needs to be thought through and through. We need to be just this thing of slap the funds, get him, and then what happens if the player wasn't suited? What does happen? God forbid, there's an injury, and then he doesn't play majority of the season. He's not the same player again. All these things have to be considered. You have to consider these things. Clever business is the way we have to go forward.
Also, as well, I suppose, could we spoke about it there, 2 midfielders, striker, centre back. Can we achieve those 4 signings if we buy De Jong for 65 million?
No way. How? Two players will just eat up. How much is Pau Torres?
I don't know what he's got a release clause, I believe, but it's around, I want to say it's like 40, 50, maybe something like that. You know, even
That's
that,
100
all to, like I said, it's over 100, isn't it? Yeah, straight away.
110 in two players, and then you're left with what, 40? Yeah, 40 each for another two players. Not happening at all. And I'm hearing talks about Darwin Nunes or whatever, but that's me thinking that 200 is the number that we want to
Yeah, we
spend
don't
this
know what the
summer.
number is. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. K-Flow says standards have fallen so much that we are start eating decent form. Fred has always been like this, mate. He's a bench player at best. Getting tossed by Trincao was it for me. Well, not a fan of Fred, is K-Flow there. Red Baron says, is De Jong a metronome type of player with flares or creativity? If so, we need him. From what the We Talk Ajax players were saying, people were saying, rather, they were saying that he is a 6. His best position is a 6, but I wouldn't say a more like defensively minded 6, more of a deep line playmaker, like you said, can bring the ball out of defense, can the defenders can give him the ball and then he can start or progress moves, which is what I would argue need, but I would still argue that maybe we need a bit more bite in there as well. And there might be concerns about how he would be able to physically adapt to the Premier League as well. I mean, we spoke about having the same agent as Donny. I think Donny's obviously going to be a big part of it, as will Eric Ten Hag reaching out to him. They've worked together before, so they'll know how have a good relationship and all that kind of stuff. But look, we bought Donny and we thought he was going to be this kind of player, and he struggled physically. Who's to say De Jong won't be the same?
Exactly. Physicality is going to be a massive aspect of the Premier League. But, the way I've seen Frankie de Jong, I think he overcomes that just with his style of play, with his ability and confidence on the ball. He's a very, very creative player. We've seen that. He's very sharp. He's very skillful. He's players that are naturally forward going, players that are naturally like to create passes, players that don't panic on the ball, that don't want to give the ball away too quickly. He has a sense of his surroundings. These are the type of attributes that I want to see, and this is the type of attributes that Ten Hag clearly likes. So the physicality aspect, look, as much as Premier League is a very tough league in terms of physicality, I think this is something that Ten Hag's already considered. He's probably Steve is there advising him and giving him all these sides as
What do
well
you
as
think,
to
Steve?
the physicality.
Sign him.
So I don't think that'll be a huge factor. I really don't think that'll be a huge factor.
Super chat from Tony says he's another big name like Varane. He's been playing average on almost 400k. As a rival fan, it is great to see things haven't changed. Oof. That would be a question. What kind of contract does he get? And it kind of goes into my next question, Faz. We're not going to have Champions League football next season, and he'll want to play Champions League football. If we sign him without that, that would imply, one, the Ten Hag factor and maybe the Donny factor is a big deal, but we've also got to give him a good reason to want to join Manchester United. And without Champions League football, is that money?
This is what I'm saying. We have to somehow lure these players in with future thinking, trophy thinking kind of aspect, build thinking aspect, and not the money thinking aspect. As much as he say that, okay, I want a team that plays Champions League football, be part of my process. Come on this journey. You've had a bad or somewhat bad spell at Barca. You're coming in. I believe in you. This team is going to believe in you. Obviously at Ajax, I've seen what you've done. Let's come and go on a journey together. Right? This is how when a manager solely believes in a player, that does wonders more than the money. That's what I believe anyways. And if he's a footballer at heart who cares about football, he'll come on this journey to Manchester United. And in all honesty, I believe Manchester United, no matter how much I say, oh, it's not that, club anymore when it comes to transfers, because players care about, the Real Madrids and the Champions League, whatever. Manchester United still has that little pull in every single player in this world. Coming to Old Trafford, knowing that you're going to come to possibly the biggest club in the world, it's going to turn around and see 67,000 for an under-18s game. Like these little aspects, we have to sell that more than the contract, really and truly. We have to sell the history of the club, the future of the club, the new management that are in the club, the board that are in the club. That's what we have to portray to the agent and the player and get him in that way.
Another super chat here says, "Who is this guy? Just pay the money, man." Wow, that was the Manchester United philosophy for a
That's
while, I
not clever
think.
business. Not
Let's
clever
talk about
business.
something a bit more upbeat before we wrap things up. Garnacho. Now, Alejandro Garnacho is in line reportedly for a new contract at Manchester United as a reward for his breakthrough season. United are now set to reward him with improved terms, even though he has only just signed his first professional contract after turning 17 last July. This comes from Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail. Do you think he deserves improved terms? As they mentioned, he just signed his first professional contract last year. Yes, did great in the FA Youth Cup final the other day, has actually made his first team debut, coming on for a couple of minutes against Chelsea. But does he deserve improved terms already, or is that a little bit soon?
Way too soon. Absolutely not.
I would be
Mr.
concerned about
Fletcher
how
is
much. I would
Mr.
be
Fletcher's
concerned
in
about
this
how
position,
much.
right? He's the one dealing with all the youngsters, and he's in charge of the youngsters, whatever. Absolutely not. No way in hell he deserves any form of renegotiation or better term. Better terms for what? No. No, 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 no. You have to break into the first team squad. You have to be valuable to the first team squad. You have to show that you're a first team squad ability player once you're in there as well, and then we can discuss a better term, better condition for you. Right now, you've done really well. You've shown that you deserve to be in this team. You've been called for Argentina. Go to the World Cup. Do your thing. Come back, and then we'll see. But this is way too soon, and he's too young to be even having these type of conversations. Football should be at the forefront. In all honesty, as much as money is important, I understand, but football should be more than at the forefront. If that's how these people are doing business or whatever, no, I'm not a
And
fan of
also,
that at all.
like they say, breakthrough season. He's been on the bench a couple of times and made his debut, which was a 2-minute cameo. I mean, is that not really a break? That's not really a breakthrough
No, it's
season, is
not.
it? You know what I mean?
No.
Look, if he's next season under Eric Ten Hag and he plays like a handful of games, and when I say a handful of games, like he's coming on as a proper sub or might even start some games in the cup or something like that, fair play or whatever. But I don't know. I think again we have to learn from our mistakes. Do we not? Of someone that's sort of near enough around the first team's got a bit of buzz about them to give him a bit, say a big contract, but a contract that will be substantially more than he's on right now. He's not even 18 yet. He's 18 next month. Oh, in July rather. That just seems a bit much.
It doesn't seem a bit much, Owen. It is a bit much. Let's not
Yeah.
try and dilute it and water it down. It is absolutely a bit much. Whoever's in charge of that is doing a terrible job. The aim of the game is for you to be part of Manchester United, not to squeeze out another, deal or whatever. If that's how these players are, you could be anyone. You could get cut. Anyone. That's how Manchester United need to go forward. I don't understand why they don't do that. I understand. I do not want these great talented players to leave the club, but that's what you tell them. You say, I believe in you. You've done really well this season. Now, the whole point of being an all-around superstar of a footballer is doing things consistently. You've had one great season, for God's sake. One great. Okay, let's even give you the benefit of that. One great season. Other than that, you've not broke even had a breakthrough season in the first team. The only person who could possibly somewhat even come close to saying breakthrough, you and I both know, is Elanga.
Yeah,
Other
yeah,
than
yeah.
that, who else you can no way you can say he's had a breakthrough season. And it shouldn't be the case. Whoever's in charge, Mr. Fletcher especially, should be going and having words and saying, "We believe in you. You've got a bright future. We want you to stay in this club. Your terms and everything, that comes after. But we will look after you. It will come when the time is right. Your pay packet and everything will come. But for now, concentrate what's most important. You've just gone and won the FA Youth Cup. Congratulations! You scored a brace. You did the Sue. Concentrate on the next season. Ten Hag possibly is looking at you and wants you involved. Here and there. Concentrate on that. And then once you've had, a bit of success in the first team squad, once the first team squad has done well in some cup runs, then we can do your contract negotiation and whatever better term. But right now, you're doing just fine. You're playing for Manchester United, and that should be enough.
Super chat from David T says, "Won a trophy and was the best player. Deserved."
Oh
Interesting. We'll talk about
my
that a bit
God.
more we'll talk about that a bit more in a second. By the way, guys, got nearly 900 people watching, so be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner as well. And while you're here, once we're finished, you can go and watch all of the Ajax footage that we shot this week. Because as I mentioned, considering there's so many people here, well worth a watch. Specifically, yesterday's vlog of that was about the whole time over there in Amsterdam. It's amazing. Just for the fact of seeing Marcel, small Marcel, next to the giant of Ajax is incredible. Ajax is 6'7", legit. And Marcel's what? How tall would you say Marcel is?
I don't. He's tall enough.
But never.
Marcel's my
I
boy. He's
said
tall enough.
it looked like there was a thing on Flex's Instagram story. I don't think it's there anymore. Of Marcel having a picture next to, I think it's Ajax, and I want to say Wan from We Talk Ajax, and like Wan's a tall guy as well. Like he must be at least like 6'3", 6'4", and they're taking a picture of Marcel, and legitimately, it looks like they're dropping Marcel off at the prom, like proper. Enjoy yourself. Have a good one. It's tremendous. So if you haven't already, be sure to watch that. It's
I don't want to sway you off topic, but if people are saying go and pay 65 for De Jong, why on earth are we not flirting with Tchouaméni? Make it make sense. Make it a 22-year-old, really high caliber of player. Stats are there. He's the highlight reels are there. What is he? 70 million? 75? 22 years old. Going on a build. You know? Hungry. Good fitness. Got the stats to back it. Make it make sense. But you want to go and pay 65 for a player who you think is possibly worth 85, 90, simply because he's worth 90 and is going for 65 doesn't mean, in my eyes, doesn't mean anything. Tchouaméni is a much high caliber of a player to be bringing in, considering his age as well. But that's just my 2 cents.
Josh is in the chat. Josh Media, graphics guru, visual ninja, says Marcel's 5'6" and Ajax is 6'8". So the discrepancy there was proper. Again, you can see all of that because there's a bit in it as well. Just thinking off the top of my head, there's a bit when they walk in. The clip was on social media last night where the We Talk Art guys walk into like the apartment and Marcel opens the door and you see him open the door and you see his head do this.
No. Marcel's look. Marcel's tall enough. Marcel is tall enough. End of conversation. The Ajax boys, they've left humanity behind. They've just, I don't know what kind of protein shake they're drinking over there, but they've left humanity behind.
He said it's a lot of cheese. They eat a lot of cheese over there, apparently. That's what it is.
I mean, Flex, KG, they're big boys. Even KG looked a bit small in comparison to Ajax.
Yeah.
He's just a giant, isn't it? He's just a giant.
Giant. So if you haven't already, be sure to check that out. But yeah, just to wrap it up on Garnacho, obviously 2 goals on Wednesday. Do you think he's got a role to play next season?
You know, more than Garnacho, who's the other more player I'd like to see? If I'm pronouncing his name right, is Kubi.
Yeah,
Kubi Mayo or Kubi Mino. How do you pronounce it?
He was brilliant. He was very good in the week. I thought he was really good. Yeah.
Oh my God. What an absolute class player. And I really do not, I hate to do this. I really do not want to gas him and whatever. I understand Garnacho got his brace. I understand, what player he's come through, whatever. But man, that number 6, he is definitely one to look out for the future. The way he just controls the pace of the game, so calm, does not matter what the scoreboard says, does not matter any mistakes that have been made, simply eye on the ball, eye on the mission. Let's tackle this game. What's just overall such a good play. He's even spatial awareness when he's off the ball. That's what I was watching more than anything. His spatial awareness off the ball, positioning, being in the right time, in the right place, reading the game early, understanding as well the strength and the abilities of the other players near him. Just for that age, honestly, what a player. Attacking players, they somewhat, as much as it's great to be a, flamboyant and whatever, you're putting the ball in the back of the net, but Kubi's position in the middle of the pitch is very, very tough position. It's not an easy position at all. You have to do the forward job and the backward job. And he did it so well. The first 3 minutes, he was doing Jogo Bonito in the other half's box. Think of that. He was doing flicks and tricks and he nearly had a goal. Just, yeah, a really top player. And that's someone who I'd really want to keep in Manchester United at any cost.
Iris says, on a scale of Marcel to Ajax, what are the chances of us keeping Ronaldo?
Ronaldo
I think
staying, isn't it?
Ajax. I think Ajax on that scale.
I said it from day one. Ronaldo staying.
And lastly, super chat from Nana says, De Jong is a good player, but why are we not getting a central defensive midfielder by trade for the 1,000,000th time? Saying that we should be focusing specifically on what we need. It's not a bad point. But anyway, guys, look, we're going to wrap it up there. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. What's coming over the weekend? I don't know, because it's not a game. There will be something coming over the weekend. That's a bit of a teaser. Not that I know what's coming at all. But as I mentioned, be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner, and you'll find out when we go live or when anything gets dropped. It's the best way to do that. So be sure to smash a like, and we're out of here. Peace.